Have you ever heard of a guy who's strong, like really strong? Today, we're going beyond the stage, beyond the screen, and diving into the story of a true giant. He wasn't just the Hulk on TV. He was the Hulk in real life. This is about grit, discipline, and a level of strength that'll leave you speechless. Get ready to meet a legend who broke barriers, crushed expectations, and inspired generations. Grab your pre-workout and let's roll, because what you're about to see is pure old school, raw intensity, and pure motivation. Ready for this? Then take a deep breath. The show's about to start. Lou Ferrigno's story starts with challenges that would have crushed most people. Born in 1951 in New York, he suffered a severe ear infection as a child that left him with only 25% of his hearing. That kind of hearing loss isolated him from a young age. Back then, wearing a big, obvious hearing aid was like putting a bullseye on your back. Kids made fun of him nonstop, what we now call intense bullying. But instead of folding, he found escape in a world that felt like home. And that's when everything began to change. Comic books became his safe haven and his secret source of strength. Superheroes, especially the Hulk, helped Lou deal with the pain. The Hulk was misunderstood, rejected, and yet unbelievably powerful. That hit home for Lou. Imagine idolizing a character and then becoming him in real life years later. That's exactly what happened. But before the fame came sweat, setbacks, and a ton of perseverance. Beyond the comic book heroes, Lou looked up to real-life legends too. Steve Reeves, the bodybuilder and actor who played Hercules on the big screen, became a huge role model. For Lou, bodybuilding wasn't just about muscle. It was about earning respect and building an identity. He started training with weights at just 13 years old. No coach, no fancy gym, just homemade equipment and raw determination. He couldn't control what people said about him, but he could control how hard he worked. And that work ethic shaped his entire future. Even rejection at home became fuel. His dad was strict and often told Lou he'd never amount to anything. Imagine hearing that from your own father while you're just trying to find your place in the world. Instead of letting it crush him, Lou used it as fuel. Every rep in the gym was his silent response. Every new muscle he built was a step toward earning the respect he craved. Have you ever turned criticism into motivation? Maybe it's your turn to start. By his teenage years, Lou stood out for his height and frame. Despite his hearing challenges, he had laser focus when it came to training. It wasn't just about looking good, it was emotional survival. The gym became his refuge, his battleground, his temple. In no time, that shy kid started turning into a beast. His arms, back, and legs were growing at a freakish pace for his age. He didn't know it yet, but the world of bodybuilding was about to meet a new contender. What's wild is that it all started as a way to escape pain. Lou wasn't chasing fame or trophies at first. He just wanted to feel accepted and proud of the guy in the mirror. And maybe that's exactly why he became one of the greats. Sometimes the biggest legends rise from the most unlikely places. Looking back now, it's impossible not to admire where it all began. Lou Ferrigno's childhood wasn't easy, but that's where his mindset was forged. From a bullied, hearing-impaired kid to a bodybuilding icon and pop culture legend. What a journey. After years of training in silence, Lou finally started reaping the rewards of his insane dedication. Still just a teen, he entered his first big competition, the IFBB Mr. America. In 1969, at only 18, he won the title and stunned everyone with his next-level physique. That was just the start. His size, symmetry, and stage presence were impossible to ignore. And this was only the beginning. The big breakthrough came in 1973 when Lou won the IFBB Mr. Universe. At just 21, he became the youngest athlete ever to win the title, earning him a spot in the Guinness Book of World Records. It wasn't just a win, it was a roar. The kid everyone doubted was now making global headlines. The boy who could barely hear the world was now being heard around the world. Then in 1974, Lou took the biggest leap yet. His first Mr. Olympia, the most elite stage in bodybuilding. He placed second in the heavyweight division, behind none other than Arnold Schwarzenegger. That alone was massive, especially for someone still considered a rookie among the sport's veterans. His crazy physique and the growing tension between him and Arnold created one of the most iconic rivalries in bodybuilding history. It was the start of something legendary. In the following year, 1975, Lou came back to the Mr. Olympia stage and placed third. Once again, Arnold took the crown. Even though he didn't win, Lou had already cemented his name among the elite of bodybuilding. His stage presence was striking, and his massive frame stood out among the shorter, more compact physiques of that era. A lot of people started wondering, would Lou ever dethrone Arnold? That intense rivalry between Lou and Arnold hit the big screen with the release of the documentary Pumping Iron in 1977. The film gave viewers a behind-the-scenes look at the road to Mr. Olympia, and the spotlight on the Lou versus Arnold showdown took the sport's popularity to another level. Lou, quiet and more reserved, was seen as the underdog challenging the charismatic and seasoned Arnold. You could feel the tension between them. It gave the audience an epic narrative. If you've seen it, you know, Pumping Iron changed the way the world viewed bodybuilding forever. Thanks to the documentary's success, Lou became a full-on celebrity, not just in the fitness world, but also in movies and pop culture. The film didn't just showcase his strength, it showed his vulnerability and humanity. People connected with his story, with his struggles, his insecurities, and his raw desire to win. It wasn't just about muscles. It was about emotion, effort, and guts. Have you seen Pumping Iron? If not, go add it to your list, seriously. Even without a Mr. Olympia title, Lou Ferrigno was already a legend. His journey inspired thousands of young lifters to hit the gym and chase their best selves. He proved that you don't have to be a champion to be iconic. His story is about pushing through adversity, proving yourself, and, most of all, never giving up. After those unforgettable Mr. Olympia appearances, Lou made a bold decision. He stepped away from professional bodybuilding for a while. Even though he was still young, he felt the urge to explore new paths. During that break, he worked as a construction worker, far from the spotlight and the gym. He even gave pro football a shot, playing in Canada. He wasn't just an elite athlete. He was a man constantly chasing new challenges. Then came the big turning point, Hollywood. After Pumping Iron, Lou's name was out there not just because of his physique, but because of his personality too. In one of the film's most memorable moments, he opens up about his biggest dream, to play the Hulk, his childhood hero. That confession, caught on camera, made its way to a TV producer. Not long after, Lou was invited to audition. And just like that, he landed the role, the chance to become the real-life Hulk. The Incredible Hulk series premiered with Lou Ferrigno as the lead, and it instantly became a ratings hit. Airing in the late 70s, the show introduced Lou's strength and charisma to the world. He didn't have any lines in the role, but his expressions and body language spoke volumes. More than just muscle, he brought depth to the character. The contrast between the monster and the man underneath was powerful. That's how Lou went from bodybuilder to full-blown pop culture icon. TV success opened doors in the movie world too. Lou Ferrigno went on to play Hercules, the same character once portrayed by his idol, Steve Reeves. It felt like a full-circle moment. The boy who idolized Hercules was now living that dream on screen. Over the years, Lou appeared in all kinds of shows, movies, and special guest spots. He became a beloved figure for fans across generations. And that side of his career didn't stop there. In 2009, Lou made headlines again when he revealed he was training none other than Michael Jackson. That's right, the king of pop trusted Lou to get him physically ready for the This Is It tour. Lou focused on Michael's endurance and conditioning, proving that his knowledge went far beyond just lifting heavy. He also used his fame to become an entrepreneur. He launched training programs, released fitness education materials, and supported projects that promoted health and sports. Over time, he even became a fitness consultant for police departments across the U.S., helping officers stay in shape. Then, after almost 2 decades away from the stage, Lou shocked the world in 1992 by announcing his comeback. No one saw it coming, especially not a return to Mr. Olympia, the toughest and most prestigious show in bodybuilding. But he didn't just come back, he came back huge. weighing in at a jaw-dropping 289 pounds, 131 kilograms. Lou hit the stage more massive than ever. It was the heaviest he'd ever been, and even by today's standards, his size was nothing short of jaw-dropping. Even with that epic comeback, Lou only placed 12th at the 1993 Mr. Olympia. The following year, in 1994, he climbed one spot and finished in 10th. The placements themselves didn't turn heads, but his presence did. Standing next to him, many younger athletes basically vanished. The combination of mass, symmetry, and his towering 6 feet 5 inches, 1.95 meters, height was still visually unbeatable. By then, bodybuilding was entering a new phase, dominated by shorter, denser competitors. The mass monster trend was rising, but Lou looked like he belonged to a different era altogether. His frame wasn't just big, it was majestic with classic lines and movie-level proportions. For many fans, seeing Lou Ferrigno back on stage felt like watching the golden era come alive again. Lou's return brought a wave of nostalgia to the Olympia stage. It was like watching a legend test his strength one more time. Not to win, but to prove something to himself. He showed that even after so many years, he could still hold his own among the best in the world. Many fans and experts believe Lou could have won the Mr. Olympia back in the late 70s. If he kept competing after Arnold Schwarzenegger retired in 1975. The champions that came right after were smaller, and Lou could have easily taken over. His massive build, combined with his growing stage experience, would have made him a serious threat in multiple lineups. Most people know Lou Ferrigno as the Hulk or the guy on the Olympia stage, but few truly grasp how strong he was. He never made a big deal about records, but the numbers speak for themselves. In interviews and old logs, Lou avoided bragging or comparing himself to others. He preferred to focus on technique and training volume. But let's get into it. On the bench press, for example, he claimed to lift between 560 and 600 pounds, 254 to 272 kilograms. And that's just the start. In the squat, a cornerstone for any serious lifter, Lou reportedly hit up to 640 pounds, 290 kilograms. Keep in mind, he was 6 feet 5 inches, and heavy lifts at that height require insane control and leverage. In deadlifts, Lou claimed to pull around 900 pounds, 408 kilograms. That's a monster number and would have put him among the strongest guys of his generation, no doubt. Outside of standard gym lifts, Lou also tested his strength in actual strength competitions. On the ABC show Superstars, he did a 290 pounds, 131 kilograms, split jerk, an Olympic lift, and almost nailed 310 pounds, 141 kilograms. Which shows not just brute strength, but explosiveness and technique. Then at the 1977 World's Strongest Man competition, Lou placed 4th out of 8 elite athletes. And keep in mind, he wasn't even a traditional strongman. He was a bodybuilder who built all that strength inside a gym. 2 events from World's Strongest Man really stood out. First, he'd been a steel bar over his head, straight up Hulk mode. Then came an even crazier moment. He lifted the back end of a 2,681 pounds, 1,217 kilograms car in a deadlift style event. No special effects, that was real, raw strength. Of course, some people question these numbers. That's what always happens with legends. There are many videos or full records of his heaviest lifts. Most of what we know comes from interviews, TV appearances, and notes from books. Still, when you compare his stats to other top athletes from the same era, Lou comes out ahead in several areas. He outbenched and out-deadlifting guys like Franco Columbu and got close to modern beasts like Johnny Jackson and even Ronnie Coleman. But here's the key. Lou Ferrigno wasn't a powerlifter. He was a bodybuilder. His main goal was always aesthetics, size, shape, and symmetry. Even so, he reached numbers that strength athletes spend years chasing. That says a lot about his dedication, consistency, and smart training. He was basically a hybrid of classic physique and raw power. If there's one thing that defines Lou Ferrigno, beyond size and strength, it's his training discipline. His style was pure old school. Heavy weights, high volume, and barely any days off. He trained 6 times a week, with insane intensity and a laser focus on progressive overload. No fancy machines or short sessions. He trusted in the basics, done right. What set his workouts apart were the little things. Lou stuck with free weights for nearly everything. Barbells and dumbbells were his go-to, avoiding machines that, in his words, restricted the body's natural movement. He also kept constant tension on the muscle, never locking out at the top of a rep. That kept the burn going and made every set way harder. Ever try to set without resting at any point in the movement? Give it a go, and then you'll understand. Lou's weekly routine was super structured and broken down by muscle groups. Mondays were all about chest and back. Think flat bench, incline press, flies, pull-ups, bent over rows, and deadlifts. These weren't short workouts either. He'd do up to 10 different exercises in a single session to completely destroy every muscle fiber. The idea was total exhaustion, forcing the body to adapt and grow. Lou believed the more you challenge the muscle, the harder it fights to grow back stronger. Tuesdays and Fridays were for shoulders and arms, and the volume was just as insane. Barbell curls, concentration curls, alternating dumbbell curls, French press, cable pushdowns, rope extensions, Arnold press, lateral raises. It was a straight-up onslaught. Minimalist workouts? Not in Lou's world. He'd hit 4 to 5 sets per movement, with 8 to 10 reps each. The variety of angles and combos sculpted a dense, well-balanced physique. Wednesdays and Saturdays were dreaded leg days, and Lou didn't mess around. He'd hammer squats, leg presses, leg extensions, hack squats, and leg curls, each for 5 sets of 10 reps. It was brutal, especially for someone 6 feet 5 inches tall, but Lou embraced the challenge. He wanted a complete physique from head to toe, no weak links allowed. Sundays were his only full rest day. Even then, Lou would sometimes stretch or do light activity to stay loose. His body needed recovery, but his mind never left training mode. That unshakable mindset is the heart of old-school bodybuilding. No excuses, no shortcuts, just consistency, sweat, and discipline every single day. That's the kind of routine that builds champions on stage and in life. Lou Ferrigno's training wasn't just a list of exercises. It was a philosophy. He proved that real results come from real effort. But no matter how hard you train, it means nothing without the right fuel. Lou knew that better than anyone. His diet was fine-tuned to support a 290 pounds, 130-plus kg muscular machine. He ate every 2 to 3 hours to keep his metabolism revved and his body constantly fed. The key? Eat before hunger kicks in and stop before you're stuffed. Sounds simple, but it takes serious awareness and planning. Lou loaded up on calories in the morning when metabolism and energy levels are naturally higher. His go-to breakfast included whole grain toast, fruit, a 5-egg omelet, and 1 or 2 glasses of whole milk. That first meal set the tone for the entire day, fueling his workouts and preventing energy crashes. It was like putting premium fuel in the tank right from the jump. Throughout the day, he kept energy levels steady with high-protein, high-fat snacks. One classic combo: nuts with roast beef or cheese sandwiches on whole wheat bread. These kept him full without slowing him down. And of course, whole milk, a true old-school staple, was always in the mix. Before training, he'd whip up a shake with milk, liquid eggs, and fruit for fast absorption and monster lifting power. Lunch and dinner were solid, balanced meals. Grilled steak, steamed veggies, and baked potatoes were common staples. At night, Lou would go lighter on the carbs, things like hard cheeses, sunflower seeds, and more whole milk or a light drink. This helped avoid fat gain during sleep while still giving his body enough protein for recovery. One smart move Lou always made: his last meal was timed close to bedtime. That way, his body stayed fueled through deep sleep, the time when most muscle repair actually happens. No going to bed hungry. Lou knew muscle growth doesn't happen in the gym. It happens during rest, supported by smart nutrition. Lou Ferrigno's diet was simple, but powerful. No fads, no exotic superfoods, just balance. He timed his intake of protein, fats, and carbs throughout the day to fuel performance and recovery. The secret wasn't complexity, but consistency. By eating right, training hard, and sleeping with discipline, he built one of the most impressive physiques the sport has ever seen. And the best part? No magic formulas, just pure dedication. When we talk about legendary bodybuilders, few are as awe-inspiring as Lou Ferrigno. He wasn't just big, he was massive. Every time he stepped on stage, his 6 feet 5 inches, 1.95 meters frame made him stand out immediately. Most bodybuilders are of average height, but Lou was the exception, like watching a giant standing among strongmen. His contest weight hovered around 300 pounds, 136 kilograms, and we're talking low body fat. That's heavier than many of today's open-class pros on stage. And what made him truly unique was that he kept his symmetry and proportions, which is insanely hard at that size. He didn't just bring raw mass, he brought balance. And in bodybuilding, that's gold. It's not just about being huge, it's about having everything in proportion. Speaking of proportions, Lou's measurements were on another level. His arms were a whopping 23 inches, 58 centimeters, about the size of most people's thighs. His chest was a massive 57 inches, 145 centimeters, a literal wall of muscle. And get this, his waist was only 34 inches, 87 centimeters, giving him that perfect V-taper everyone dreams of. That shoulder-to-waist ratio? Straight out of a comic book. His legs didn't fall short either, 31 inches, 78 centimeters of pure density. They were like pillars holding up a mountain. Even his calves measured 20 inches, 50 centimeters, a muscle group many neglect, but Lou made sure they matched his upper body. And no, this wasn't just genetics. These numbers were built through years of hardcore training, strict nutrition, and rest dialed into perfection. What's wild is that despite his size, Lou posed with fluidity and grace. A lot of massive guys look stiff or robotic on stage, but not Lou. He owned the spotlight with confidence, presence, and charisma. His posing made it feel like the stage was too small to contain him. Beyond impressing judges, Lou blew away casual fans too. Even people who didn't follow bodybuilding were shocked by his proportions. His image crossed over into pop culture. Let's be real, even if you've never touched a dumbbell, you probably know the guy who played the Hulk. What makes Lou Ferrigno unforgettable isn't just the weights he lifted or his unreal measurements. What defines his story is overcoming. He started off as a shy, hearing-impaired kid who got bullied and left out. But instead of shrinking back, he grew, literally and metaphorically. Lou became a symbol of resilience and grit. He proved you don't need to be born with all the advantages to become a giant. His bodybuilding journey alone is something to be proud of. But Lou went beyond that, breaking into TV, movies, and becoming a household name even among people who never followed the sport. He was the Hulk, and also a hero to so many young people who felt like they didn't fit in. The truth is, we might never have exact proof of how much Lou Ferrigno could really lift. There aren't full training videos, documented records, or solid footage confirming every lift. But in the end, does that even matter? The man bent a steel bar over his head, lifted a car, lived with hearing loss, battled rejection, and still conquered the world. That's not just physical strength. That's character, and that can't be measured with a barbell. Lou Ferrigno was the Hulk on screen, but also the Hulk in real life. Strong on stage, strong on camera, and most of all, strong in his choices. He chose not to quit. He chose to turn pain into fuel. And he chose to rise above every obstacle. Can you even imagine the level of courage that takes? Being a giant isn't about height or muscles. It's about how you face life. So now the question's for you. What impressed you the most about Lou's story? Was it the raw strength? The insane measurements? The comeback after 17 years? Or the journey of a deaf kid who became a global icon? Drop a comment below and let us know what hit you hardest. And if you believe Lou Ferrigno was one of the strongest bodybuilders of all time. If this video inspired you in any way, don't forget to smash that like button. It really helps our channel reach more people with amazing stories like this one. And if you want to take your support a step further, consider becoming a channel member. You'll get exclusive perks, help keep the content going, and join a community that lives and breathes bodybuilding. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. We drop new videos every week, packed with stories, facts, and deep dives into the greatest names in bodybuilding history. And hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Thanks for sticking with us till the end. And remember, you've got a giant inside you too. Maybe it's just waiting for the right moment to wake up. So let's train hard, keep growing, and keep writing our own story. Big hug, and see you in the next video.